Hey guys, if it looks like I got a shit-eating grin on my face, you'd be right. I got my chair back. I fixed my chair. My chair has been broken for so long. I don't know if my son did it, if I did it. It's an old chair. I loved this chair when I first bought it years ago, and it's got the two arm pieces right here are bolted to the bottom of it, and then there's a metal piece of channel on the bottom, and one side, I didn't realize it until I got underneath it and looked, was broken right where the bottom piece of the left hand armrest bolted to it. So it was going like on this side, it was going like this, and it was really annoying. You couldn't lean on this piece of the arm, and it would push up on the seat, and the seat was not sitting the way it was supposed to. But, and I gave my welder to somebody to practice with, and I tried calling him today, and I was going to just weld it back together. I was like, I can fix this. So all I did was just I went and bought a piece of half-inch plywood, cut a piece for the bottom, and then just bought. It takes 8 bolts, two for each arm, go underneath it, bolt to that metal piece, and then 4 bolts for the part that goes from the chair to the ground. So I had to buy half-inch longer bolts, and then I already had lock washers, and they're metric bolts, so I need to make sure I get the right ones. 1.5 millimeter by 40 millimeter is what I bought, and God, no, it's just perfect. It's just like it's brand new. It's something from a spiritual perspective. If you can fix what you already have instead of constantly just going through stuff, it does has a very healing effect, because it gives you a feeling like you've accomplished something, right? You want to feel like you've accomplished something. And if you can fix what you have instead of just going through stuff and just not believing in yourself that you can get it fixed, then much better for your overall sense of being. I had a riding lawnmower recently that I have been going through, and I finally got it to where, man, it is running like it is brand new. But I've gone through every piece of that riding lawnmower. For those of you that have a riding lawnmower, or maybe you have a family member that uses a riding lawnmower and you do not, grease the spindles once a year, or you'll replace them. The spindle is the piece that sits on top of the mower deck that the blade attached to, and so there's a bearing in there. And if you don't grease it annually, the bearings will wear out, because it's a dirty part, right? It's on top of the mower deck, so it's throwing grass and dirt, and you just got to put grease through it to make sure that the grease is pushing the dirt out, right? That's why we pack bearings in trailers, because if you don't continue to put grease in them, the bearings will die, and you'll just have to replace bearings. Standard stuff, but I didn't do that, and so I had to replace spindles. The fuel pump wears out, the rubber diaphragm, that because it's a John Deere, it's like an '06 John Deere 125 automatic 42-inch deck. The fuel pump runs off the exhaust manifold, so it creates, as the exhaust is going through the manifold, it creates suction that pulls on a rubber diaphragm that pulls fuel into the fuel pump and then out as the cycling of the exhaust gas goes through the pump. So it pushes fuel up to the carburetor. It had been dying for years, and so my lawnmower would continue, I mean, it was terrible. And finally this year it wouldn't start, but I could pour gas into the carburetor and it would start. And so I thought, you know what? I really need to fix this thing. And so the fuel pump was only $12 on Amazon, super cheap part. That lawnmower has had a rebuild. I think 10 years ago it got a rebuild. For whatever reason, it spun a bearing, and so I think my wife at the time had the neighbor rebuild it for us. Now it's just running perfect. Change the oil, grease the parts, clean and change your air filters. Sometimes you got to replace the battery, sometimes you don't. Maintain the mower deck. All you got to do is grease the mower deck. As long as you're greasing the spindles, the belt probably won't wear out. The belts wear out on those things because most people don't grease the spindles, including me. So you learn lessons. Everything needs maintenance. Your bodies need maintenance. Everything around you needs maintenance. My chair needed maintenance. Now it's A-okay. So today I wanted to finish talking about boundaries a little bit because something happened today which don't ever feel like you're being attacked when somebody's talking about boundaries. And we're going to get into public forums in a little bit. And then I'm just going to pull an oracle card. We're not going to pull 3 cards today. I'm just going to pull an oracle card at the end. And I want to get this video done because I still have a sprinkler to replace because of what happened today, which I'm about ready to explain. So I got done with my morning routine, was doing some stuff, and then it was about 11 o'clock. It's like, yeah, I got something to eat, and then I'm going to take a little nap. So I was laying down, taking a nap, and I heard my neighbor mowing my lawn. And he does this every once in a while, and he mows all over the place around here, and I don't take it personally. I was like, yeah, go ahead and mow my lawn. Even though I really don't care about the way he mows my lawn. He mows a little bit too short, and I don't like it when the grass is too short. I would rather let the grass grow, and I don't like to mow. I don't like to mow as frequently as other people do. I like to let the grass grow because it lets the roots grow deep. And then when you cut it as high as you can. Let the grass stay healthy, especially if you're mulching. If you're mulching, you want to make sure you're cutting the grass pretty high. You don't want to cut it. You can cut it low if you're taking all the clippings out. But I generally don't want him to mow because he doesn't mow the whole thing, right? He'll mow half of the front yard, and so it looks like total butt when he gets done. And I got to go out there and finish mowing, and I don't want to set my deck as low as what he mows. So I basically just leave it and let it look like crap for a week until it grows up enough where I can mow it, and I can make it look good again, right? Well, I had a sprinkler right outside my front door that I knew was a little bit high, so I would watch it when I'd mow around it and just trim around it. I want to get the trimmer out. Of course, he mowed right over that sucker, and I heard it when I was laying down today, just like, oh, bro, I think he mowed over the sprinkler, and I was just like, whatever. So I just fell back asleep. Got up this afternoon, it was like, 1 o'clock. Went outside, sure enough, he turned that thing to mist. There were sprinkler parts about that big, just spread out in every direction. He was gone. I looked around. He'd mowed half of the lawn, kind of made a run around one of my trees. So the grass is like this tall in most places and about this tall everywhere else. It just looks stupid, right? Why would you, He was nowhere to be found. I was like, all right. I had already decided I'm going to fix my chair after I looked at it. So I ran into town and got parts to fix my chair. It's like, I ain't going to worry about it. Maybe he's going to come back and fix the sprinkler. So I saw him today, and after I got back, and it's like, hey, Rich, my neighbor. And I went to talk to him. I was like, hey, I appreciate, you going through the effort to mow my lawn, but you don't have to. And I prefer that you don't, because when I mow it, I want to mow the whole thing so it looks uniform, right? I mean, when you're mowing it, you're not going to mow my whole lawn. So I just prefer that I mow it, right? If I need help, I'll ask. And that's the point of this message, is you want to make sure, don't ever get into somebody else's space unless they ask. This is one of the problems with sales and our communities and the way that they work, right? Unless someone asks for help, you can't offer it. Because for one thing, they don't believe that you have the power to help them. That's a major one right there. Even, I've had to deal with that in my own ways. And so, like if I want to expand this project that I am doing, I will need help. I mean, it's obvious I need help. For one thing, to spread the message of what this is, right? It's about, expanding the heart and making sure that everybody's growing from the heart space, because that's where everything comes from and goes back to. If you're trying to use your mind to create an image of what you think things need to look like, you're not following your heart, because the heart doesn't care what it looks like. It has no attachment to the outcome. It is only providing and receiving. And it can only provide if there's a need and someone is asking for that need on a personal level. When it comes to public forums, That's when it really gets interesting, because that's when you can condemn idol worship. Idol worship are attachments that kill the heart. If everything's going back to the heart and everything comes from the heart, you have every right to condemn idolatry. I'm going to repeat myself. If you're posting anything on a public forum, including this video, you have every right to get into the comments and condemn idolatry. If somebody's trying to sell idolatry in any way, trying to tell you about how you can make 6 figures in a month, it's like, how? How are you going to do that? Are you siphoning from? Do you have a negative emotional attachment? Are you creating an idol that you're placing more value on than your heart? Because you'll kill your heart through negative emotional attachments. And you'll be inducing fear onto your environment and killing it as well. That's why idol worship is so bad. You're unconsciously killing the heart. And if you're unconsciously killing the heart, you have every right to speak out against it, against people who are doing it. Right? You're looking at the devil again. 2 sides of the same coin. The heart lives in the brightest light and the darkest darkness. Everything on the dark side that comes up to the heart funnels through one point. Right there. Before it gets to there. And that's the devil. Right? Baba Yaga. The one you can't kill. The one that shows up every once in a while to make sure that all the unconscious energy is getting flushed down the toilet. That's what this does. That's your gut. It's flushing all the unconscious energy out of the body. Because if it stays in the body, it'll kill the body. Because if it's unconscious, it'll pull energy towards it, become cancerous. This is happening on a bigger scale, on a bigger timeline, right? We're out looking at a 24,000 year period. So the Baba Yaga that you're seeing now hasn't been seen here in 24,000 years. Right? Going after idol worship. But you have to be able to offer the brightest light as well. If people really understood, and this is why this message is so profound and it's so important that you guys really understand what I'm saying here, you have to heal the mind, right? Heal the mind to surrender to the heart. That's all you have to do. Surrender to your heart. Don't think of any false perceptions of what you think you should or should be doing. Do what your heart's telling you to do. And your heart's always going to tell you to give love and receive love. And the best way to give love sometimes is to create the right boundaries to make people understand, look, you can't get into my space unless I ask for help. Don't tell me what I need unless I ask for it. I'll tell you what I need. And then if you don't offer help when I need it, now, depending on what it is, now if it's something that I don't need and I'm unaware of it, you need to be able to enlighten me of that, right? If I do need it and you don't offer help, now you're in spiritual deficiency. Money has nothing to do with equal exchanges of energy and everything to do with it. It was created because somebody didn't want an equal exchange of energy with you. They wanted to have more in their pocket than you. They wanted to own more than you. And so they judged you as inadequate because they judged themselves as inadequate. And so they had a negative emotional attachment to what they did or didn't own. The Native Americans, call them Indians and Native Americans, it doesn't matter what you call them. People who lived here in North America before, 400 years ago, there were two classes, basically two main classes of individuals. You had the Warren class that took from the people that kept to themselves and lived in a balanced state of serenity on the land. Those people had to defend themselves against the warring tribes that just wanted to take from it. Those people were very spiritual, right? They understood that they didn't own the land. They had to take care of the land and to honor the land. It was part of them. The seasons and the cycles of life. They embraced all those things as part of nature. And they understood how corrupt it was when Europe came over here. It was just like, but they had to surrender to it, right? What are you going to do? The timing wasn't right. It wasn't the right time yet. But now we're finally coming into the time where people need to understand. All you have to do is set boundaries and stop pouring your energy into systems that are toxic and narcissistic by nature, that have a negative emotional attachments to what you're creating, and treating people differently according to what preconceived identities they're creating in their mind. Now, we are all like salt of the earth, and all of us are attuned to create something profound for each other, and we have infinite potential to become the greatest musicians, the greatest artists, the greatest builders, the greatest healers of one another. As long as we learn that we are the creators of those things, that we have the ability to create our own emotional states and mental states, to create the reality. But you cannot do it for somebody unless they ask. It would be like me and a bunch of people running over to John Hopkins facility, hey, we're going to heal all your kids. If the parents and the kids had no idea who we are, they'd be like, get out of here. You guys are a bunch of nutcases. Because they're not healed, right? They're minds. You have to heal the mind. When we heal collectively enough minds, we'll start clearing out hospitals. There will be no more sick. There will be no more dying. But you have to get to a certain state, and you have to create boundaries, because if you create any kind of negative emotional attachment, you'll never get there, because you'll never be able to create your own emotional state if you have a negative emotional attachment. That's what Jesus was trying to teach, and that's why I've been so fanatic about it on my channel. Instead of teaching what the guy was teaching, to teach people how to heal themselves, to create balance in their heart space with the people around them, they just created an idol. And so you have Christianity has created an idol to put themselves in spiritual poverty. Boy, Jesus is not happy, I can tell you that. Right? But he was just another aspect of the whole. He was there's 12 aspects of the Godhead, 12 main aspects of the God. I make a video about that later. Because 24,000 years, you've got, maybe you could say that there's 13 aspects. A lot of people argue that, there's 13 months. I'm not going to argue about that stuff. There's more than 12 aspects. There's a 13th aspect that kind of falls outside of that, but it's 13th dimensional stuff is outside of this reality, not connected in a way that's, you're kind of popping into another dimension that works in different sets of rules. But everybody's sovereign, and they understand the rules more, right? In a 12-based universe, we're not going to get into it now. Anyway, so yeah, boundaries. Don't ever get into somebody. If you're in sales and you're constantly offering somebody something to put more money in your own pocket for something that somebody doesn't need, you're in spiritual deficiency. And you have to wonder, what people need is information. And this is the one thing that they need more than anything. And people do need emotional support. It's nice to get emotional support from the people around you. We all want that. We don't necessarily need it, because if you love yourself, you'll never need love from somebody else. I mean, if you truly love yourself and you're okay, when you really understand that the only thing that you really are is a heart, then you're going to be at war with everybody that has emotional attachments that believes otherwise. Right. And that's why you always have to surrender to the needs of the organism, and the needs of everybody else is that, right? To understand these basic principles, that you are the creator of your own body, the creator of your own thoughts, the creator of your own emotions. If you're ever blaming somebody else for how you feel or what you're thinking, you have not mastered yourself, and you do not understand who you are. You are a self-sufficient, sovereign, whole being. If you're blaming somebody else for how you feel, or feel like a victim in any way. You're immortal. There's nothing to be upset about. I'm going to pull a oracle card and call it a day. I really want to fix that sprinkler before it gets dark. And I love my neighbor. And he wasn't upset with me. He loved me. I love Rich. Rich is the coolest guy ever. I mean, who else is going to mow your lawn for you, right? It's just that I really would rather do it myself. Because it's part of a schedule, my own schedule. It's my space. If I need help, I'll ask. And if you need help, I'd be more than happy to help you if you need help with anything. That's why we're here, right? And I will be asking for help constantly. I mean, I've been asking for help for these people overseas, the orphanages. If you have the ability to help homeless kids in any way, reach out to me. I can directly send them money or get them in contact with somebody that can get them to places where they'll have homes. They're feeling very unstable right now because they're getting their homes ripped out from under them. And it's not fun for them. Free spirit. All right, be a free spirit. There's nothing more freeing than being able to set the right boundaries and to be a free spirit and to say things from a place of neutrality, right? You don't ever, like, if I would never try to condemn somebody for somebody trying to help somebody else, but you really can't help them unless they ask. And if they don't ask, don't just speak your truth, and your truth will speak for itself. Yeah. Love you guys. Have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you on the next one.